In this video, I'm going to show you how to get a palette of 3 shades of a random color. Color conversions can get somewhat complex, but we're going to keep this example simple. We're going to add an input to the DOM as follows. So I'm going to set the color picker to the value of document.createElement, input. Next, I'm going to set the document's body text content to an empty string to clear out the existing page. Oh, and by the way, I'm only using VS Code for its code completion and just ease of use. And then I'm going to copy the entire script and paste it right into the Chrome browser's DevTools, so you'll see it in action. So next, I'm going to append child to the body of the document. So document body append child. And that append child is going to be the color picker. Next, I'm going to set a few attributes on the color picker. So color picker dot set attribute. The first attribute I'll set is the type, and I'll set it to color. And also, I'm going to repeat this, but this time the attribute is going to be the ID, and the value is going to be color-picker. Okay, and now I'm going to set the picked color value, picked color, to color picker dot value. All right, and now I can console.log the picked color. Okay, so now that we have this, we can kind of test it out. So let's just see briefly how it works. So if I run all of this, I get the picked color, which is 0, 0, 0. Okay, so it's being changed here. All right, so next, let's continue with our script in VS Code. Now we need to attach an event listener to our color picker so that when a user picks a color, the event gets triggered and we capture the updated color value. So I'm going to do document.getElementById, and I'm getting the color picker right here. And then I'm going to add event listener. I'm going to set the value to change and pass the event to the callback function. And here I'm going to set the color to the value of event's target. So event target value. And I'm going to console.log the color. Okay. So let's now test this addition to our code. And back in Chrome, I'm going to just copy paste this thing, and let's see what happens when I change it. So I'm still not getting anything here. Well, actually I am, but I first need to, I guess, exit out of the color pickers option window, I guess. So this code now works. So let's refresh the page, go back to VS Code, and take it to the next step. So in this step, I want the, as you can see, the hex color is being logged to console, and I need to click out of the color picker after picking the color. And now I want to continue improving the code in the event listener by updating the picked color variable as follows. So I'm setting the picked color to the value of color. Now that I've updated the picked color value, let's also see how this works. And if we test it in browser, let's just see the outputs. So this is a minor update. And the next thing I want to do is I want to add those 3 divs to the screen with 3 different background colors on each of the divs. So let's continue right here. First, I'm going to set the divs above the event listener. So let div1 equals document dot create element div. And now I'm just going to repeat it twice and change the name of div, the variable name, to div2 and 3. And finally, inside of the event listener, I'm going to set div1 to style. And this style is going to be using the backticks template literal syntax. And I'm going to say margin 10 pixel. Width is 100 pixel. Height is also 100 pixels. Background is going to be the picked color. I made a mistake here, so I need to quickly fix it. So that's the interpolated variable. And now I'm going to say document.body.append child. And that child is going to be this div that I've just set the attributes for. And now let's test it out again in the browser. So this time, when I click this, it's going to show that div right here. Okay, that takes us another step towards our goal. So the code above adds a div with a user picked color, but how do we calculate a different shade using the hex color format? Well, the point of this exercise is to simplify things, so we just won't do it. Sometimes it's best to think about what problem we are trying to solve, and does the problem even need to be solved? And even getting more philosophical, how are we even solving the correct problem? So putting ourselves in that kind of mind frame can sometimes yield interesting results. For example, instead of doing lots of math and finding the 10% darker shade of a given hex color, we can cheat a bit and just use CSS filters. So here's our updated code. So inside of the event listener right here, I'm going to just organize my code a little bit better here so that it's more readable. So I'm moving all these to separate lines. And now I have the one set attribute, and I'm going to copy this and paste it in a couple of times. Okay, clean the white space. Okay, so now I have div2 set attribute, div3 set attribute. So for div2, I'm going to add, after this CSS property or CSS declaration, I'm going to add another where I'm going to set the filter to the brightness of, let's say, 80%. And on the third one, I'm going to set the brightness to the value of 60%. Okay. Let's also just order these a little bit better. And for the document body appends, I'm going to have to append div 2 and 3 as well. Okay. So now we have our full code. Let's just copy all and go back to this one, refresh, paste in our updates, and let's run it. Okay, so now when I click the color picker right here, let's say I pick some shade of blue, or let's say some shade of teal, light teal, and then it's going to give me two shades here. So I made a mistake in my code somewhere. So let's try this again. I've quickly fixed the code, and now when I run it, I get all three shades. So let's say I pick a very light color, and I'm getting the two darker shades. Okay, so that's it for this exercise, but keep in mind that you can further improve this, and that's probably what I'm going to do in one of the next videos.